Hey, it's Julie with Paradigm Interiors, and it's Lunch with Julie on Friday. So I hope you have your lunch ready to go, and we're going to learn a little bit today about two design elements. And these last two videos on design elements are going to be two elements at a time because they're things that really go together and make sense to learn about them together. So today I am talking about color and light. And so these are two design elements that really are like peanut butter and jelly or thunder and lightning or smoke and fire. They just go together. So let's talk a little bit more about that. So what do I mean by that? If you've ever painted a room in your house or hired somebody to paint a room in your house and you've made those color decisions and you start putting the colors on the wall, you start getting those colors up and you start thinking, that doesn't look like I thought it was going to look, or it doesn't look like how it was going to look, or how the chip looked in the paint store. Or it doesn't even look like the sample that you painted on the wall. So, you do the whole thing where you paint the white square, and there's a reason for that. And that reason, number one, is that the color reflects kind of on itself. So that color that is the color intensifies as the whole room becomes painted in that same color. That's number one. Number two is the light. Light is so important to color. In fact, color can't exist without light. So if you think about in terms of light, where pure reflection of light is white and pure absorption of light is black, then you can kind of start to understand that you can't really see and understand color and process it unless there is light. So then it stands to reason that light and the quality and the character of the light is going to affect the way that we see color. And so I want to show you some examples on my screen. I'm going to show you first agreeable gray, which is a color that has been popular for a few years now. It's not a gray, not a cool gray. It's a warm gray or grayish type color. And that color, when we look at it, and I'm going to share my screen with you. Let me show you this agreeable gray and what it looks like. You can see, so here we've got a few examples of that agreeable gray. See here, it looks almost tan in this picture, and they've got it paired with a lot of tan and taupe type colors and furniture. But when you look at where the agreeable gray is painted at the top, it looks like an almost tan color. And then here in this space, I'm going to zoom in, it looks almost white on this wall in the background. So it looks almost white here. It looks taupe there. And let me find the other one. And then in this one, it looks gray. So we have a more of a gray look here. It looks less of the taupey grayish color. And in this one, in this hallway, it looks dark, right? So it looks dark and it looks very gray to me in this one. And the reason why is because of the light. So our next color we're going to look at is sea salt, which I think is it's a gorgeous color. And when you see it here, it looks gray with some green in it, but it looks like a deep color, and you don't really see any blue at all. And it's a bathroom, which, probably has no window because we're looking at the wall opposite the door that comes into the bathroom. So if there was going to be a window, it would probably be on the wall that we're looking at, but it's not there. Then when we look at it here, I wanted to show you in these two pictures. These are the two that are the most astounding to me. I mean, just look at these two pictures. In the picture on the right, sea salt looks blue. And in the picture on the left, the sea salt color looks green. It looks very green in that picture, as a matter of fact. And in the other side, it looks very blue. And so what is the difference? What is causing these colors that are exactly the same color, they're made exactly the same way, to look like this? Here's another great example. This is a white color, and I noticed this because I used it in a project recently. And as we were in the house, after the rooms had been painted, I noticed that there was a thunderstorm coming, like typical in Florida in the afternoons. And in that, when the thunderstorm came, I noticed that the color looked more like this kind of beigey white color. It almost had like a yellow cast to it, even more so than this picture does, where it looks like an actual color on the walls. And then in this bedroom, and this was the same thing, when the clouds cleared and there was enough sunlight coming into the room, it looked more like this creamy white color. So what makes that big difference? And I'm going to tell you, let me stop my screen share, and I'm going to tell you exactly the three colors we looked at were agreeable gray, sea salt, and pearly white, if you do want to jot those colors down. But the thing that makes a difference is what direction the windows are facing in the room, what time of day it is. And like I said, if it's overcast or if it's a bright sunny day, that can make a really, really big difference. So the first is north-facing windows. So how do north-facing windows affect your paint color? North-facing windows will give you a diffuse light early in the morning, and a little bit throughout the day, and it will be a cooler light. So if you have a north-facing window and let's say a south-facing window or a west-facing window in a room, then you'll notice the light will change throughout the day, but that north-facing window is going to give a more cool, consistent light throughout the day. So that means if you have warmer colors in your room, they're going to appear softer and a little more muted in the morning time than they will in the afternoon. And so be aware that when you are selecting, cool colors and you have a north-facing window and maybe that's the only light coming in through that space, that the color is going to look very, very cool in that room. And then you also have south-facing windows. So south-facing windows, opposite direction, you're going to get more afternoon light, and that light will be brighter throughout the day than the north-facing window will. It's also going to transfer a little more heat than a north-facing window, and the colors are going to be more warm because you're talking about, full afternoon sun and some of the setting sunlight that you get in the afternoons. And then you have the east-facing window, which of course is going to give you the brightest morning light. You're only going to get light from the east-facing rooms during the morning hours. The rest of the day, it's not going to provide a lot of light. And again, it's going to be more of a true white coming from the east-facing windows, a lot lighter and cooler in color temperature. And then finally, the west-facing window. So the window behind me, that's a west-facing window. It's 12 feet long, and I think it's about 5 feet tall, so 60 inches tall by 144 inches wide. And it brings a lot of light in the afternoon, and that light is a very warm light. So if you have a window like this, you're going to want to select colors that, like if you're selecting a gray or you're selecting a white, you're going to want to avoid colors that have a lot of warmth to them naturally, because they will just look very warm in that room. So in the afternoon, the white walls in this room do look a little more creamy than they do in the morning. But the nice thing is this particular white, even though it's a creamy white, has just a little bit of green tinge to it. So that tends to neutralize everything out, especially in that afternoon light. The other thing about south-facing window or west-facing windows, is that they transfer a lot of heat. So in the afternoon, the heat transfer is sometimes almost unbearable in the summer in this room, and we're getting ready to replace the windows in the house. So I'm looking forward to that, to having some better environmental controls and a little bit better heat control and heat transfer in here. But that's just a really quick lesson on color and light and how they can affect each other, and why when you buy those paints in the store, even when you try them on a wall, you don't always get the truest expression of that color until the whole room is painted. So erring on the side of caution, if you have a very large west-facing window or a very large south-facing window in your home, in the room that you're planning on painting, you might want to get something that's a little bit of a cooler color, so it's got a little more blue in it. And then make sure that you check out the blog post that I'll be posting on this. And if you are struggling with selecting your paint colors, I have a paint consultation, and it's very simple. It can be done online, completely online. And I know that sounds a little counterintuitive for colors, but it can be done online. And it is, you can use the link in this post to grab that paint consultation if that's something that you're interested in. And keeping in mind that I take all of these things into consideration when I am specifying paints for clients. So hope you have a great weekend, and I will be back next week. It's the last week of the elements of design, and I'm going to be talking about space and shape or form. And so we'll be talking about that next week, concluding the elements. Then I'm going to have one special lunch with Julie on kitchen remodeling, and then we're going to kick off the principles of design the week after that. So I look forward to seeing you here next week. Grab your lunch. Join me. Bye.